Welcome to Tales from South Florida. I'm your host, Bill Monty. Today we're taking a journey through one of the most iconic landmarks of our region, the Freedom Tower in downtown Miami. And we're marking a special milestone because the Freedom Tower is 100 years old in 2025. Happy anniversary, Freedom Tower. We're going to explore its origins, its transformation, and what it has meant and still means for generations of immigrants and for the story of South Florida. So settle in, grab a cup of coffee, Cuban coffee preferably, and let's take a talk down memory lane together.
These are the tales from South Florida for you, with your host, Bill Monty.
Our story begins in the roaring 20s, when Miami was booming, the land boom, new skyscrapers, optimism. We talked about that in the episodes of the Gilded Age of South Florida. Go back to Talesfromsouthflorida.com and look them up if you haven't heard them yet. In 1924 and 1925, construction began on a striking new building located at 600 Biscayne Boulevard. The future Freedom Tower. Wasn't the Freedom Tower back then, though. It was built as the headquarters for the newspaper The Miami News, which was originally called the Miami Daily News and Metropolis. Architecturally, it's styled in the Mediterranean revival tradition that was so prevalent back in that time. Drive around Coral Gables, University of Miami, you'll see it everywhere in South Florida from anything that was built back in the 1920s. It was deliberately making a statement. Miami's ambitions were going to be international. So from its very beginning, the tower symbolized ambition and connectivity. A Miami that looked outward, that wanted to be something more than just a resort town. Now let's skip ahead many decades to the 1960s. Miami's skyline has changed, certainly not to what it is right now, today. But it was different than what it was in the 1920s. The boom years had passed. The tower is now taking on a new role, and a far more important one. In the wake of the Cuban Revolution, and especially beginning in 1962, thousands of Cuban exiles began arriving in South Florida. The U.S. government leased the building and turned it into a processing center for refugees. It wasn't just an office. It became a portal, one that offered help, hope, and a new start. Many arrivals called it El Refugio, or the refuge. One historian said so many people came through the Freedom Tower, coming here penniless, and then they would get on their feet. It was the quintessential success story for humanity. It earned nicknames like the Ellis Island of the South. The building's walls heard stories of fear, hope, loss, joy, lives that were changed forever. And here in South Florida, the arrival of Cuban exile generations reshaped the city, culturally, economically, politically, and that tower, the Freedom Tower, is all part of that epic change. As we celebrate the building's 100-year mark, the story doesn't stop either. In fact, it's refreshed. In 2025, Miami-Dade College, which now oversees the tower, marked the centennial and reopened the building after years of restoration. Restoration that addressed structure, accessibility, exhibitions. The Freedom Tower stands at the crossroads of Miami's past, present, and future, said Maribel Perez Wadsworth of the Knight Foundation. New exhibitions such as Libertad explore not only the tower's past role, but the larger themes of migration, home, and identity. It's powerful when a building carries stories like that, from newsprint to refuge to museum. And in celebrating 100 years, we honor both the stories and the souls who passed through. So let's step back for a moment and reflect. Why does the Freedom Tower matter today? What is its relevance for us in South Florida? Well, one, it's a symbol of transformation. The tower mirrors Miami's own journey from a local newspaper headquarters to a beacon of national immigration history. It's the architecture of the 20s, the refugee wave of the 60s, the global city that Miami is today. And it's about the human stories. It's not just a building. It's not just brick and mortar. its people. I'm reminded of the comment by a Cuban American who said of the tower, "To me, it's like the Statue of Liberty. It should be there as a symbol of freedom, as a symbol of American hospitality and concern for refugees." Those words ring true across generations. It's a sign of legacy, of hope, of opportunity. For many, walking into that building meant stepping into possibility. Oh, sure, a new language, a new career, a new city, but that legacy echoes through our churches, our neighborhoods, our restaurants, our city's texture. And there's the continuing relevance of it all. With migration, displacement, and the reshaping of communities, the tower is a touchstone, not only for Cuban American history, but for all who come to South Florida seeking new beginnings. As a recent article stated, it's a rare historic constant in a city that's continually remaking itself. And finally, its architecture and memory. The building itself, it's just beautiful. But more than that, it carries the memory, the mosaic of voices, immigrant arrivals, and changing tides in its walls. The tower is more than a landmark. It's a metaphor. The story of the tower is our story in micro form: ambition, change, arrival, renewal. One Cuban American recalled arriving at the tower in the late 1960s. She stated, "I was 14 when my mother, my sister, and I arrived in Miami, and we arrived through the Freedom Flights, and we were processed at this beautiful building, this beautiful Freedom Tower." The team that worked on the restoration of the tower gathered more than 300 oral histories just like that for the project called The Voices of Miami. And that asked visitors to the rebuilt tower to tap a word like home or freedom. And when you do, you will hear a first-person story. Because these are not just facts, my friends. They are lived experiences. They bridge the decades and invite us to walk in those shoes, even if just for a moment. If you haven't visited the Freedom Tower, I encourage you to do so. Once again, it's located at 600 Biscayne Boulevard. The building houses the museum space, which is operated by Miami-Dade College. It has the newly restored lobby, gallery spaces, interactive exhibits. It's a living monument. And going there means more than seeing architecture. It means stepping into layers of Miami's story. The newspapers, the land boom, Cuban exiles, immigrant life, preservation, and future vision. As we mark the 100-year birthday of the Freedom Tower, we honor what came before, what is, and what might be. For South Florida, this building is a lighthouse. It seems apropos for us, doesn't it? It's architectural, historical, and sentimental. It tells us who we were and invites us to ask, who will we become? For those living in South Florida, you know that the Freedom Tower, besides reopening this year, has once again been in the news, as the parking space next to it, also owned by Miami-Dade College, is now being considered to house the Donald J. Trump Presidential Library. There is, as with everything surrounding the current president, a lot of controversy about this. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But whatever happens, it once again shows that that building, that tower, does reflect the freedoms that we cherish so much in America. If you enjoyed this episode, I ask you to please hit subscribe or follow, depending on the platform that you're listening on. And please share the podcast. It means so much to the future success of Tales from South Florida. If you have a story connected to the Freedom Tower or any story connected to South Florida, I would love to hear it. You can scroll down into the show notes. That's the notes that's below where you hit play. And you can click on the link to the SpeakPipe that allows you to leave a 90-second message. It's free. You don't have to put in a credit card or give me any information if you don't want to. You can also email me at talesfromsouthflorida@gmail.com. and I'd love to hear your story, and perhaps you'll be on a future episode. Remember to visit us at Talesfromsouthflorida.com if you haven't already. That's where you can hear all of the audio episodes, be connected to our YouTube channel with videos and audio episodes, as well as our Spotify playlist highlighting the music of South Florida. It also gives you a chance to support the show if you feel you would like to do so. But your support just by listening, subscribing, and sharing already means so much to me, and I thank you. Until the next time, my friends, as always, I remind you to please be safe and be kind.
Let's take a talk down memory lane, 'cause the stories around here are just insane. Pirates World, the Sporto and Wolfies do, Palm Beach to Key West, that's where we grew. These are the tales from South Florida for you, with your host Bill Monty.
Hello, friends. Bill Monty here, and I'm inviting you to join me on the podcast Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older. Now, this is not a podcast about being old. No, it's about understanding the world we're growing older in, how we care for each other, how we protect what we've built, and how we make sense of the systems that are supposed to look out for us, especially when we need them the most. Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older. It is available wherever fine podcasts can be found, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.